Hello and welcome to this special edition of Market Masters. There are very few people in the Indian market context who symbolize or put a face to the word a multi-bagger. That magical word which symbolizes wealth, value creation and riches. Madhu Kela is one such name. He needs little by way of an introduction. He's been on television talking investments, talking strategy, talking about his thought process for at least the last 2.5 decades or so. I've spoken with him on all these subjects for pretty much that long a period. Madhu is our market master today. Madhu, great to have you with us here.
Thank you, Prashant.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for having
me.
Thank you so much.
So I want to start by asking you, we are throwing around words like exuberance, bubble, quite often nowadays. I mean, one starting to hear that. Do you feel that maybe we are in that kind of a zone where we need to use those kind of words to contextualize and describe the market, or not really?
Yeah. Thank you once again, Prashant. Very nice to catch up with you after a long time. I would say that the entire market is not in that phase at all. That, if you look at the return of overall Nifty in the last 2 years, is merely 7-8%, right? A lot of large caps have not returned any significant investment return in the last 2 years or so. We are up a lot from the low which we made at COVID time, but there is really the word exuberance in a lot of large companies. And the large companies are actually doing well, but the stock prices are not going down or going up, which means their valuations in a way are correcting. Like if you take some of the private sector banks, there's been hardly any return in last 2 years. So I don't think market as a whole can be termed as exuberance or
But are there
euphoria.
pockets where things are...
There are surely pockets, and obviously we would like to talk about that. There are surely pockets where there is clear exuberance, where I think the stock prices are clearly running ahead of fundamentals, right? Maybe 2-3 year fundamentals, and that is where investors need to be really watchful that and do their homework completely. And I can tell you there will be exuberance even in public sector bank. There is some stock, small public sector bank trading at 3 times book value. Now we were the one of the few people who said that we want to invest in public sector bank. But clearly, I can't reconcile or resonate with a 3 times book value, and which has risen so quickly.
Yeah.
So there are pockets of stocks in lot of sectors where there is a clear exuberance, and that is what one has to be watchful. The irony, Prashant, is that there is a compelling buy in the public sector bank at one end, and there is exuberance on the other end.
Within the sector. But let me stop you right there, because I'll get to where the exuberance is, where there is still opportunity in just a bit from now. But let's just start with the good stuff. Yeah. We are actually talking about exuberance, etc., because we are in a pretty good place.
Sure, right? Absolutely.
I mean, things are looking good for India as an economy, and that is the reason why people want to come in, people want to invest, and hence the talk of where the valuations justify this a lot. Exactly. So lay the context, in that sense, because there's a lot happening in the world.
Sure.
And this China plus one, developed world perhaps slowing down a little bit. Where does India find itself within this context?
Prashant, this is the day for which people like me have lived for. That someday India will get recognized. Someday the world in general will talk about India much more than what we have been spoken and what we deserve. Right? All the good policies which are being persuaded by the government in the last maybe 8-10 years. It's all coming together. And this is coming at a time when, the world is struggling. World is struggling for that word growth. World is struggling to manage inflation. World is struggling to put together policies. Now, if you look at, let's say, for instance, just from a comparison perspective, China received $1.5 trillion of FDI in the last 10 years. Just imagine a small shift of that FDI into India. What kind of numbers can we attract over the next 10 years?
Right. Right.
Yeah, so the way the world is geopolitically, reorganizing itself, India is a clear beneficiary.
Okay, let me take off from that what you said, right? And you're a big believer in themes, catching the right theme, right? So global economy, as you said, perhaps is not looking as great, right?
Sure.
When things are slowing down.
Sure.
Locally, things are looking good. But locally also, you would agree there is a clear differentiation. Consumption is hurting, especially the lower
Lower-end consumption is hard.
What is doing exceptionally well is government capex.
Sure,
right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So
and high-end consumption.
And high-end consumption.
Yes.
So are those, when you talk about themes, should we kind of limit ourselves to finding opportunities in these two areas, high-end consumption and sectors benefiting from government capex?
So let me talk about one very large theme before we come into specific investable themes.
Right.
So I personally feel that this whole carbon neutrality is a very, very large theme. And it's a much bigger problem than what the world is actually talking about or recognizing it. This is a very large theme. Like what you are seeing, whether even in India, when you look at what is Mr. Ambani talking, what is Mr. Adani talking, what is Mr. Jindal talking, they're all talking of investing billions of dollars into this theme, into green energy, into electric vehicle, so this is, Prashant, in my mind, a mega trend.
Which will last for many
years.
Yeah.
The other thing which
Bring it down to investables.
Yeah.
I mean, how does one?
So within that, you have to find
What
companies.
have you done? Give us with of course full disclosure.
With the full disclosure, I just recently invested in a private company, which I can talk very freely about. A company called Wari.
Okay.
Right, which will hopefully come into public issue soon. If people just follow this now, finding ideas in this theme is not a big issue at all. There will be many companies which will come, and there will be, I think, billions and billions of dollars of value creation opportunity is here.
Okay.
The other theme which I would like to take again, big picture,
Right.
is on artificial intelligence.
Okay.
How that is going to impact the world, how it is going to reshape.
Sure.
This is an event which is happening after maybe 20 years after the invention of internet. In my understanding, this is the biggest event after internet. Now, it is early days, right? People like you and I are still reconciling how it is going to, and so there will be distortion into a lot of businesses, and it will be a big opportunity for a lot of businesses. So these are two really large themes, from a next 5, 10, 20-year perspective.
In the listed space, is there a way to play?
There will be enablers. There will be companies which will use, and you will hear a lot more of what I'm saying even from the IT services companies, and you should get some of them in your studio and ask them whether what I'm saying is right.